The episode begins with a saber-toothed squirrel named Scrat holding his beloved acorn and dancing with it. He hits it on the ground, and it breaks the ice and falls down the cliff. Scrat screams as he realizes it has fallen off the cliff, and he jumps after it. He slams the ground several times as he follows it, and it moves into some grass. Scrat follows the acorn into the grass and sees it on a stone. He rushes to pick it up but realizes it isn't his acorn but his son Baby Scrat. He panics as Baby Scrat wakes up and puts him on the ground so he can continue searching for the acorn. Baby Scrat grabs Scrat's hand as he tries to walk away and makes a sad face. Scrat's brain, which only shows his love for the acorn, gets separated into two, and a section is dedicated to Baby Scrat. He plays with Baby Scrat while teaching him how to walk as he covers his face, and Baby Scrat thinks he has disappeared. He tries changing Baby Scrat's diaper but cannot, and Baby Scrat pees on his face. They stare at the stars and see themselves on the constellations. While playing, Baby Scrat sees something and begins to cry. He sniffs the ground and sees Baby Scrat holding his beloved acorn. Scrat's dying love for his acorn is revived by the fact that the acorn is still intact. He battles with his mind to choose who he will love more. While deliberating, Scrat sees him sucking the acorn and rushes to him. He grabs the acorn and caresses it. Scrat plants the acorn in the ground. The cliff splits, and Scrat holds the two pieces together because he is about to fall. Baby Scrat stands up and begins walking. He takes the acorn, and as Scrat tries holding himself, another piece of the cliff breaks off, hits, and causes him to fall to the ground. Baby Scrat cuddles the acorn as he sleeps. Scrat quietly snatches the acorn from him and gets excited, but Baby Scrat wakes up. He realizes he isn't holding the acorn and begins to cry. The screaming causes the cliff above them to begin to crack, and Scrat sees that it's about to fall. He rushes and returns the acorn to Baby Scrat to stop him from screaming and prevent the cliff from crumbling. He tries taking the acorn again, but Baby Scrat begins screaming, and he returns it. He then takes it, and as Baby Scrat screams, he hits his head with the acorn several times. Baby Scrat hears the sound produced as Scrat hits the acorn on his head, and he stops crying. Scrat realizes that he likes the noise and continues hitting his head. Baby Scrat gives him a bone and asks him to hit his head with it. He refuses and tries running away with the acorn, but Baby Scrat continues crying, and some large ice bricks fall to the ground. Scrat immediately hits his head with the bone and acorn, and Baby Scrat gives him a cactus. Scrat hits himself with it, and pulling out the thorns makes sounds like strings. Baby Scrat yawns, and Scrat replays the scene in his head several times. He continues hitting himself with the objects. Baby Scrat gives him a hornet and a frozen electric eel, and he uses all the objects on himself. He eventually falls asleep, and while gloating about his victory, he makes a noise with his tongue that shakes the broken ice on the cliff. A few pieces of ice fall on him, and a large amount of snow falls on him and traps him under the ice. He gets separated from the acorn, and Baby Scrat grabs it and continues to suck it. Scrat moves around and sees his beloved acorn. Baby Scrat grabs it and begins sucking on it. He tries walking away but trips and falls. He realizes he is stuck on some vines and tries to free himself but gets tangled. Scrat gets an idea while trying to free himself. He plans on making Scrat place the acorn on a marked spot on the ground. The acorn will trigger a rope to grab Baby Scrat and hang him on the tree while he takes the acorn. Scrat goes to Baby Scrat and shows him the plan by drawing it on a rock. Baby Scrat sees the plan and sneezes. He eventually understands the plan and lifts the acorn to place it on the marked spot. Scrat watches in excitement, but Baby Scrat drops the acorn backward because it's too heavy. He picks it up and tries to place it on the marked spot but cannot, and Scrat gets frustrated. He grabs the acorn from Baby Scrat, places it on the marked spot, and stomps on it. Scrat stops moving as he realizes his error. The acorn triggers the trap, and the vine grabs his leg. The vine swings Scrat around as Baby Scrat grabs the acorn. He hits an iceberg, which he gets his teeth stuck in. He hits a geyser, the giant rock he used to depict his plan, and falls into an ice lake that freezes him. The vine drops him above a volcano as the ice around him shatters, and the lava shoots him back to the marked spot. Scrat sees the acorn, but Baby Scrat jumps on it and triggers the trap again. The vine grabs Scrat and swings him around again as Baby Scrat laughs and claps. Baby Scrat and Scrat struggle for the acorn while standing beside a frozen lake that shows their reflection. The acorn slips from their arms, rolls around, and falls into a cave. Scrat and Baby Scrat see the cave as lightning strikes, making it look like a giant monster. They realize that the cave is very scary but continue pursuing the acorn. They run through the tunnel and bump into each other as they struggle to reach the acorn. Scrat goes ahead of Baby Scrat and runs faster. He sees a strange reflection of himself but doesn't know what it is, and slows down as he panics. Scrat and Baby Scrat stop running, and Scrat stares at his reflection. He realizes it's his reflection and makes funny faces while staring at it. Baby Scrat joins him, and they make faces together and laugh. They stop laughing as they stare at the acorn and run to it, but Scrat's reflection remains on the ice. They get to the acorn, and Baby Scrat takes it, but Scrat snatches it from him. The shadow rushes to the position as Scrat holds the acorn above Baby Scrat. He makes fun of Baby Scrat because he is too short to reach the acorn, and Baby Scrat notices that the reflection is strange. It stretches its hand out of the ice and grabs the acorn. It uses the acorn to make fun of Scrat, and Baby Scrat's reflection emerges. The reflections begin fighting over the acorn, and Scrat and Baby Scrat notice. They stare at the reflections and feel disgusted because of their behavior. Scrat puts Baby Scrat down and dusts his head. Baby Scrat takes his hand, and they watch as the reflections fight and grow larger. Their fight brings about chaos as the cave begins to crumble. Baby Scrat holds on to Scrat, and he picks him up. He begins running out of the cave as the reflections continue to fight, and the cave collapses. They narrowly escape the cave as it shatters, and Scrat searches for Baby Scrat. Baby Scrat taps him, and they hug as they are reunited. The acorn rolls beside them, and they stop hugging and begin fighting as they rush to it. Their reflections, who are now at peace with each other, wonder why they are fighting. Scrat and Baby Scrat sniff through the snow as they search for their beloved acorn. They push each other as they search and move through some bushes. They stand up and see a strange bird taking the acorn and trying to swallow it. They rush to the bird, and Scrat pushes it down while Baby Scrat jumps on its stomach, forcing it to release the acorn. They move away with it and soon continue their fight for it. Scrat swings Baby Scrat and the acorn around and accidentally lets go, propelling him through a dead tree. The tree log moves to the cliff's edge, and Baby Scrat hangs on to its ledge while the acorn stays on the other side. He screams for help. He gets to the middle of the wood log and pauses. Scrat decides to save the acorn instead of Baby Scrat, and the log falls off the cliff. Scrat hits the ground several times, and the log goes on a slope and into the clouds. The clouds clear, and Scrat and Baby Scrat realize they're balancing at the top of a narrow point that's extremely high. They scream loud, and their scream shakes the entire galaxy. The writer watches as they scream, and their picture falls off his wall, but he picks it up and places it where it's meant to be. The acorn lands on the log, and they try to reach it but realize it'll mess with its balance. Scrat tries to stop Baby Scrat from getting the acorn, but it lands on him and pushes him through the log. The log begins spinning and eventually stops, and they agree to move to the middle simultaneously to retrieve the acorn. The strange bird that attempted to eat the acorn moves down the slope and snatches it. They decide to work together and push the log off the point. It moves down the slope at rapid speeds, and they eventually hit the bird with full force. They fall to the ground happily as they have retrieved the acorn but land on another edge. Scrat carefully retrieves but Baby Scrat jumps off the log. Scrat struggles to make it to the ledge but doesn't and falls to the ground as Baby Scrat gets the acorn and continues sucking it. Baby Scrat runs with the acorn with Scrat pursuing him. They trip and fall to the ground as the acorn bounces forward and falls off a cliff. Lava erupts, lightning strikes the acorn, and a large rock falls on it. They scream as they see what happens, and Baby Scrat rushes to check if the acorn is alright. He confirms that the acorn has been destroyed, and the acorn leaves his brain and deflates. Baby Scrat walks to Scrat and holds his hand. He becomes the only thing in Scrat's brain, and Scrat hugs him as he smiles. They begin having fun together, and several seasons pass. Scrat grows old, and Baby Scrat helps him move around. He uses some leaves to form an adult diaper, and they sit and stare at the stars that night. Scrat lies on a rock the following day and holds Baby Scrat's hand. A bird makes a beeping noise as a worm represents his pulse. Scrat passes away, and the wind changes their drawing on the sand to a sad one. Scrat's soul leaves his body, and as he is about to enter the light, Baby Scrat picks a stick and pokes his dead body. He realizes he is dead and celebrates as he runs to the cliff and jumps off. Scrat follows him and sees that there is a platform that stops him from going to the bottom. Scrat sees a plan on the wall and realizes that Baby Scrat used several tricks to deceive him and keep the acorn for himself. He gets angry as he rushes back to his body and puts it on like an old suit. Scrat wakes up, rips off his long hair, and angrily screams. Baby Scrat sees him and runs away as Scrat pursues him while struggling to use his body. The end. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.